Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with arguably the best Protoss player out there. In the red, the mysterious MaxPax. And it's been a while since I've been able to introduce his opponent, the Zerg in the blue, the Italian Stallion. It's Reynor. A best-of-5 Protoss versus Zerg Grand Finals here in the ESL Cup Europe. With Clem headed to Korea, Reynor returns because there must always be someone to challenge MaxPax in the finals for his prize money. And ideally show us maybe some good games for the fans. And if you like good games, it'd be awesome if you could smash that like button. And maybe even subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we... Okay, a little cringe. 1,376 likes on this video, on this cast. I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Double gold expand here on Dynasty. The economic aggression. Reynor understanding that expanding to the outside is somehow, somewhat paradoxically, safer than expanding within, as that limits the opportunities for Adepts and Oracles to be the most annoying units in the game when Terran isn't in it. So, while it's not a safe base, it's safer than being on the inside, though MaxPax looks intent on making sure that every single angle, Reynor is acutely aware of how much damage these Adepts could do. He pokes in, them with their fancy minerals, gold minerals, and rich Vespine gas. Adepts into the main, they get a drone. He's going for the Evo Chamber block, actually locks him in and knocks him out. The Queens are able to take down the Adepts. Get off my creep. Yeah, Brenda, you tell him. Shut up, Susan, I don't need your help. Oracle comes in, though, and gets 5 more kills. And it was all looking so good, it was going so well, and then the Oracle just burned right through a significant percentage of the economy and gets away with murder, with its fancy little pretentious Oracle nose upturned on its way away. And just like that, Reynor down 7 workers and is actually behind on a third base. Somewhat surprisingly, not opting for a Roach Warren, but instead rushing a lair. Now, it's a bit cliche and predictable to go for a Queen like Ravager all in on this map, but it's also, it is that because it's so difficult to hold on to your outer base and defend your inner ones, because just connecting the creep, let alone moving units between them. The Oracles come in, they're just disrespecting the Queens. Another Oracle on the outside as well. Looking for more. A Spore Crawler will actually prevent a significant percentage of the mining there as well. But much better than, well, losing a bunch of drones will also do that, so... Opportunity cost. Blink and +1. Lair is completed. We'll see where Reynor... Hydra Den. It makes some sense. Not opting for a Nidus, or even like a Spire or something, but just rushing straight to Hydralisks, which is a great counter to Blink Stalkers with +1, but it's a matter of timing. Because those Blink Stalkers can come out so quickly before Hydras come online. Sure, there's not going to be many of them, but they should be able to get most of the way across the map before the Hydras are available. So, and now we may see MaxPax exploit the distance between these two bases, as there's no creep down the center. The Queens have been tied up in the mineral lines. 49 drones to 60 probes does not paint a particularly financially responsible picture for the Zerg either. But a Lurker Den is on the way. Rushing Lurkers. Certainly one option to deal with this potential Blinkstalker timing. If he gets Lurkers, there's still Oracles, but the Stalkers can't really fight a sizable number, so... But he has to survive. And right now, that's the hardest part. As Reynor's actually supply blocked from losing Overlords. Can't add any more units into production. And the Hydras are caught on either side of this. MaxPax's army is splitting the Zerg in twain. And he can just pick a side and decide to fight 1/2 or even less. It looks like the majority of units are at Reynor's naturally. He has enough Hydras to be scary over on the top left, but stasis wards are going to sandbag anything coming in. No detection means the Zerglings are going to get caught. The Hydras have to slip behind the Queens, which are taken down immediately by some Blinkstalkers. Stasis catches another group, and the Blinkstalkers see a tasty morsel of Hydras and Lings. Or metaphorically, as of course they don't have mouths, so they can't eat any sort of morsel. It's a metaphor. Hydras fighting some of the reinforcing Zealots. Charges on the way, but the Zealots just being warped in order to have something out in front. Lurkers are done, but struggling to find a place to dunk their heads in the creep. Loses 2 before they're able to burrow down. Only 1 lurker remains. The Blinkstalkers, wow, MaxPax blinks forward a few stalkers to draw fire and maybe snipe it off. Takes it out. Transfuse helps out. The Queens and the Hydras and Lings on the low ground. Another Stasis will help out. 2 more lurkers on the way, but MaxPax just keeps dancing back and forth. Assassinates 2 more Queens. Oracle's still overhead. Charge almost done. Reynor with a tenuous defense so far. Still building lurkers. Now 127 over 122. He's bleeding out Overlords. MaxPax just continues warping in. There's been no damage at home. I don't know if he's lost a single probe this game. He has not. And those Oracles are still alive. Charge is done. It's not getting any easier. He slaps down a Revelation, blunks forward, charges in, and slices up the Zerg. GG. MaxPax with a decisive victory in game number 1, just cutting through Reynor's defense. It was optimistic to try for the lurkers. I appreciate the attempt to try to do something other than an early all-in on Dynasty. And it's game 1, all right? And whatever other laundry list of excuses you want to make for why that failed so horribly, but MaxPax just making Reynor regret maybe his map veto choices at the very least. But we're going into game 2. Crimson Court. A very different sort of map that Reynor is going to play very similar. He goes for the purple base to start things off. So once again, Reynor rushing the rich Vespine base. A bit of a different map to do so, as MaxPax doesn't have a pocket gold to work off of. And in fact, this map doesn't have a ramp to the natural. The only ramps are at the 3rd and, I mean, technically out at this purple base as well. So that is relevant because it's much easier to attack in with Queens, Roaches, and Ravagers if there's no ramp. It's much more likely to see a big sort of all-in on those maps than ones that are so well protected. Like on Dynasty, you have a single ramp protecting 2 bases. Makes it very easy to hold the line, especially if you have an Oracle spotting for you beforehand. The probe gonna flirt with the minerals, try to convince those mineral patches, which are not tied down to anyone, like saying, I'm totally gonna mine you, bro. And the mineral patch is like, oh, you're gonna mine me? All right, I'm taken. And then it tells the drones, no, go somewhere else. I'm taken. I'm getting mined right now. But then the drones are like, no, you're not. He's just playing hard to get. And the drones fight over it. The minerals are like, mine me. And you can check out the rest of the audiobook on my Dronely fans after you like and subscribe. Moving on. Second Nexus on the way. Stargate as well. As the base is taking Reynor. Let's take a breather and go. Because we do it live from replay. But needed a breather there after all that hot mining micro. Adept comes in. Does not respect the Queen at all. And shades right through. Completes the shade. And once again, the Adept going to be caught in between the bases. Not sure if caught is the right word, because that's obviously where it intends to be. Joins up with another Adept. This buddy cop duo. Well, you killed my partner. And now, I'll come back with reinforcements. Is it an Oracle? No. It's an Oracle. Twilight Council on the way. Overlord wandering in, as it does. Glides in like a tentacled balloon, creeping everyone out, sometimes figuratively, sometimes literally. Oracle spotted, and the Adept will be protected. It was an Oracle all along! Yeah. You got us. MaxPax adding on 3 more gates. The Twilight, no Forge, and will expand to the purple base. Okay, not to be outdone. The Oracle doesn't have much energy. It actually lit up there for a moment. The Adept gonna get surrounded. Hey, bro! Unfortunately, the Oracle only now has enough energy. It costs 25 just to light it up, so the Zerglings are gonna be able to get away with murder. Now 6 roaches on the way. This time around, he's going to be using that rich Vespine in order to facilitate a quick Ravager push. And the creep is already most of the way to MaxPax's base, which isn't particularly difficult considering it's effectively on the same screen. Queens. Well, just 1 queen in this case. Prevent the Adepts from getting too far. The Ravagers are already on the way. It's Blink. But no upgrades, just straight up Blank with 4 gates. MaxPax building some shield batteries, but the Nexus isn't done. He can't overcharge. The shield battery completes. Gonna try to pat the pylon on the back, but it's not enough. The pylon goes down. MaxPax actually supply blocked right now. The Oracle out of energy yet again. And the shield battery overcharge going to work great for the 2 seconds it's still alive, but immediately dies to the Roaches and Ravagers, targeting down more Adepts. Another battery completely drained of energy. 4 probes down, and the completely predictable but surprisingly effective Roach Ravager timing finds significant success for Reynor, who's been droning behind. He's got 53 drones done, a lair on the way, evolution chamber in production, and those queens still in place to drive away the oracles. Well, in this case, just 1 oracle. He actually rushed Blink so quickly, and he only built 1 oracle, right? This is definitely an odd build. MaxPax really trying to get those Blink Stalkers out quickly. He loves Blink Stalkers. He's just trying to simulate like he's playing against Clem, all right? He's acknowledging that it is a Zerg, but he's like, I'm just going to micro Blink Stalkers for a long time and see if that works. We'll see if it's enough. Another Oracle is on the way, which MaxPax acknowledging that, yeah, Blink Stalkers might not cut it. There's a Baneling nest in production. Melee attack for Reynor. But so far, MaxPax has not found that sort of crazy worker damage he found in Game 1. He's had no opportunity to get it done. And now, Reynor already is ready to creep. It's going to be put down a bit. But the creep is on the doorstep of the ramp. The doorstep of the ramp. Sure. We'll go with that. But I have the best words. Many smart people tell me in the YouTube comments. That's how you know they're smart. Like and subscribe. More Lings on the way, Roaches and Ravagers, but speed for Banelings and Roaches still pretty far off. Zerglings looking for the wraparound gank in the mid lane, but the stasis stops them in their tracks. Well, the stasis doesn't kill the Lings, but certainly stalls it out. He's using it like a force field, and a very useful one at that. As those Roaches and Ravagers can't really turn the corner on the stasis Lings. It's actually the most reliable force field you can have as a Protoss, is stasis Zerg units, ideally. Another stasis catches a handful, assuming you can fit 5 Zerglings in your hand. Big hand. The Blink Stalker's still trying to keep the pressure on, but look at the supply. And there's 20 Banelings in production. Oh my. Oh, Reynor. Baneling speed is done. Roach speed isn't there yet, but that's not really relevant to this. The Banelings are coming around the north side. He's warping in a bunch of Stalkers, but he just knocks out the pylon. The probes are caught in a prison of their own design, trying to escape, but there's nowhere to go. He goes right to the gas geyser where the Banelings easily obliterate 20 probes. The Queens have arrived as well. And the Banelings continuing to form an explosive meat shield that keeps the Stalkers back. There goes the Nexus. The Queens will be able to retreat. MaxPax actually supply block, losing so many pylons alongside the Nexus. And Blank Stalkers are good. +1 finally finishes. Better late than never. But it may be too late in general. Reynor ends up using... That was an expensive attack. He used dozens of Banelings, mostly to kill probes and not really work on the army. He didn't kill that many Stalkers overall. A dozen have died for 116 Zerglings in total. The Zerglings slip in. MaxPax a split second late on the Zealot warp-in. And now he has to scramble back to deal with Lings in his main and his natural. Exactly the opposite of what he needs to be doing right now. He needs to be on the edge of the creep, getting as much damage done as possible. The Oracles come in, they'll kill a few more workers, but that's not going to be enough to balance out the map control that Reynor just ripped out of MaxPax's hands. And the Zerglings still find and kill 6 probes down. 6 probes that MaxPax could ill afford to lose. Well, that was fancy. 24 more Lings on the way, +2 melee. There's some Banelings up to the north side yet again, and MaxPax still has no vision of that side of things. What he doesn't know can certainly hurt. Oh my god, there's 20 Banelings. Those are just... Actually, no. Those are just Zerglings. The Banelings are with the main army. Zerglings into the main and the natural again. He actually takes down an Oracle. With the Corrosive Bile, the Stalkers might be able to blink back and mitigate the damage from the Banelings, but the Roaches and Ravagers are going to take out the Nexus. Look at the supply. Look at the 2Gs. Look at Reynor tying things up 1-to-1. Reynor with a decisive moment. And he does pretty much exactly what MaxPax just did to him. So this series all evened up. Reynor finds this early mid-game timing that splits the army up into 2 bite-sized pieces and crushes it between them. MaxPax had a choice of lose his Nexus or lose the game. And one kind of leads to the other anyways. So, Reynor showing that he can hang with MaxPax quite easily. And honestly, I think MaxPax really not respecting the danger that Zerg could pose so early. Too complacent after dealing with Clem for so long. It's tied up 1-to-1, and it's not Game 5, yet we're going to Amphion, which is a rare sighting. Somehow it's become the Game 5 map for these finals for, well, like, anecdotally, like 3 out of the last 5, at least I've seen. But both players agreeing on it here in Game 3. Definitely, it's becoming our most interesting and our most epic map. Yes. Or whatever other clickbait word you want. Just the fact that you have to expand away from your opponent. As you expand over to the right side, you get further and further away from the main base. So that creates a lot of choices between, do I defend my economy or do I fight the army? Like, do I defend my production or do I defend my expansion? Whereas other maps, maybe more generic turtly maps, like Alcyone is a pretty good example, where you can just kind of keep expanding to one side and be relatively well protected. That same thing is not true here on Amphion. But at the same time, you can pretty easily get like 3, maybe 4 bases before they can have enough to break you. So usually Zerg players are a little bit less enthused about it, but if you're willing to play around the map, and so far, 3 of the most interesting maps have been picked. So I do wonder if both of them... I'm wondering what the thought process is. I'm not even going to pretend like I have some crazy insight into these ridiculously high-level players and why they play these maps, as opposed to your more standard ones. But, well, here we are. I can just enjoy the results at the least. Adept sends the Queens, taking a look. Not much else for them to do besides sit back and wait for the Protoss to poke and prod in every possible way while they try to defend. Adepts slip behind the mineral line. No Evo chamber to block this time. 2 drones dead. Oracle is finishing up. Looks like he'll lose one of the Adepts. Another one shades into the main. We'll get another drone kill. And all this mining time lost. It adds up. Especially considering MaxPax already has more workers. And the Adept actually cancels the shade at the last moment. Keeps the Queen busy. Here comes the Oracle. But wait, there's more. And they just keep coming across the map. Oracle into the natural. Pokes down another drone. Third base has a couple drones as well. And things are not going... Oh my god. 6 more drones. How many in total? Well, it's 6 in total. They all happen quick enough. Reynor struggling to keep those bases protected. As right now, he decided to skip the spore crawlers in favor of the queens. But the queens, not the most reliable creatures when it comes to taking things down early or quickly. And then the Oracle comes in again. It's going to get a couple kills, though this one's going to take a lot of damage on the way out. Not quite enough to kill it off, but another Oracle and more Adepts. Oh my. And the Adepts are shading in. They're going to get more kills. And Brenda, this is worker harassment. We need to tell someone. Susan, this is a Blizzard game. Twilight Forge on the way. The queens. Also, Susan, bring me a creep tumor stat to the main. I don't... My god, I'm going. Oh my god. Sorry. Yeah, blacked out for... Twilight and Forge. How many drones? 14. And not a single Oracle killed. In fact, most of the Oracles still with plenty of HP. MaxPax is so good at prioritizing. He'll trade the Adepts in order to just create... Oh, no. Whoa. I jinxed it. But he'll trade the Adepts in order to keep those Oracles going. And obviously the Oracles, they cost as much as a Stargate. I don't know if I talked about that before, but every time I think about it, the fact that units cost so much compared to production facilities. Yet, the timing of production facilities is so important. I'm not exactly sure what point I'm trying to make here. There's something math-related, but I think a very underlooked but incredibly important part, especially of this level of StarCraft 2, is not just how many or even when you're building those production facilities. It's how you get there and what you're able to do while you're doing it. Like, getting your gateways 30 seconds quicker is another round of Blink Stalkers. But if you have to cut probes to do so, is that going to give you enough economy to even sustain it? Zerg even more so. Oh, no. Okay, I was getting into some sort of Cyril-level accounting strategy when it comes to it. But he's actually just going to blink over the mineral wall. This is... I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's a good idea. But it's certainly a idea. An idea? An idea. Now, I don't know if it's better to mine the mineral wall and create a choke point or just have an invulnerable area back there. But MaxPax is already taking a 4th base. While he does this, Blunk's over the top, but the surface area isn't really there. He has a few stalkers at the back. I mean, the Oracles are an important part of this. I've never seen... Alright. The property line. Somehow the creep extends exactly to the edge of this. He's covering it with a stasis. Blunk's forward. The queens. Zerglings chase down the Adepts. Oh my god, Adepts in the natural. Blink Stalkers on the other side of the natural. The stasis only catches a couple lings. Another stasis catches a queen. But it's creating this sort of maze. Almost a tower defense style attack here. As MaxPax with... I think it's working. The Blink Stalkers, there's still more stasis, I think, or... Yes. No, those were stasis links. And now there's not enough really left on the queens. Well, the Oracles will die. The Oracles ran out of energy because they used so much stasis. Now Roaches and Lings. Loses one Oracle. Okay, Zealots. Just slow Zealots. No charge on the way. What a mess. What a mess this is. A disaster piece of a game. Not really a messy one, but more a very convoluted. At MaxPax, you can't just expand there. MaxPax now expanding to what should be Raider's base, but the Queens and Ravagers are holding the mineral wall. Now, MaxPax is taking down the rocks. MaxPax has cut off this sort of backdoor quadrant, whereas Reynor's expanding the other direction. It feels like MaxPax has the momentum. He has the upgrades on the way. He has 80 probes. He is going for 5 next time. He's got 10 gates done, assuming yes, he just warped in 10 zealots at a time, so I was making a strong assumption. But the Roaches, Lings, and soon-to-be Banes could make a big difference. But I feel like MaxPax, who's the Zerg now? MaxPax has more drones, probes, and more production. So now more Lings on the way, but there's no light at the end of this tunnel. There's no tech that can pull him out of this decline. He just has to hope MaxPax makes a mistake. But MaxPax just has better units and more of them. 185 to 150 supply. The Zealots in the main. The Corrosive Bout. MaxPax at the third base with the Blink Stalkers, fighting heads up against the Roaches. Was the Warp Prism taken down? No. The Warp Prism still going. Put it in the corner. A Queen try to chase it down. Reynor holding on for now. It's tenuous at best, but +2 attack on the way. Here comes the Blink Stalkers yet again. Just trading out. A few Stalkers going down, but thinning out the Zerglings so efficiently here. MaxPax has 1,800. He can't spend his money. 7 Swarm Hosts. Sir Richard is called in to save the day. The Banelings don't have speed. Not that I think it would matter too much in this sort of composition. The Warp Prism comes around again. MaxPax literally running him around in circles with that Prism. The Archon. Queen Surrender! No! The Queens are trying to hold, while the Warp Prism is chased down. The Swarm Hosts throw out their Locusts. The Archon's moving forward. And Reynor up against it. A Nidus Worm into the midst of MaxPax's bases. I'm not sure what he could even send over there right now. He needs everything on defense. The army supply is kind of close to even, but the Swarm Hosts are a bit misleading when it comes down to it. Even more Zealots warped in. And that's it. MaxPax goes up 2 to 1. He just has way too much. And there's no way for Reynor to turn that around. Oh my. MaxPax with the Zerg Protoss. And Reynor just unable to hold it together. The blank over the top. That, I don't know. I love-hate it. I don't think it's good, but it's one of those, is this working? Oh no, it's working sort of strats. Where by the time you really figure out what you're dealing with, it's almost too late. And the aggressive expansion behind. MaxPax taking Reynor's front lawn. A lot of lawn metaphors, all right? Get off mine. And then pull out your phone and like and subscribe. You guys have fun. This series is breaking my brain a little bit. Hopefully, you're enjoying it. But so far, none of this is nearly... so far, expecting the unexpected is, well, alright. I'm gonna hedge that a bit. Expect the expected, but in an unexpected way. That sounded way more profound. But like MaxPax going Blink Stalkers, but going Blink Stalkers with 10 gate charge lot and using the mineral wall as a backstop. Or Reynor going Swarm Host, but just as a desperation move and not like a real strategy. I do think he wanted to go Swarm Host. It's just MaxPax kind of throat punched him before he got there. with all that economic damage. The mineral flirting continues. I want a comparison of MaxPax's, like, I need to know the KD ratio on average of MaxPax's Blink Stalkers versus anyone else. Like, maybe here, honestly, Hero's Blink Micro is incredible. It's just, it feels like he misses things everywhere else, but Hero definitely rivaling MaxPax on that level. Whereas MaxPax just looks like, we haven't, has anyone seen Alpha Star and MaxPax in the same room? I rest my case. Adept. That revolving door harass of the Adepts and Oracles, though, just... It's kind of crazy to me how... Well, like, there is no defense against it. It's such an odd scenario, because even if you have the units to defend, you can't build too many units as Zerg. Because if you build too many units, and they just don't attack, you've just wasted your units. But if you don't build enough, they might kill so many workers, you'll wish you built that many units. So it's a constant back and forth struggle. Like, there's no set amount of Zerglings you need. There's no set place the queens need to be. There's general, like, zones, but that's why it's so hard to gauge. And that's why pretty much Serral and End of List can comfortably deal with it. Because there is no right answer. But there are definitely wrong ones. And last game, I think Reynor came up with one of those. It's hard to pinpoint exactly where. Maybe not building spores, but... And then for every game, we see the Oracles and Adepts do critical damage. We have another game where, like, an Oracle or the Adepts die and kill maybe, like, 2 drones. And the Zerg counterattacks and wins the game. Susan, get out of the way! You said I was in front! I mean, only when we're fighting, not when we need to do something here. I don't... What does that mean? Am I expendable? I don't have to answer that. One Oracle. Is this... No, 3 Oracles. What am I saying? The Triumvirate. Where are they? Oh. I blacked out for far too long. The Shady Bunch. A swarm of shades just whipping across the field. The Queens, though, boxing out the Oracles. And goes on to the creep. Reynor should see this. Knocks out the shields of one Oracle. There's enough Zerglings. Yeah, he has to think twice about it. The Oracles will force a cancel on the 4th. Looks like Reynor might not even cancel it for a moment, which would have been quite devastating at this stage. The Adepts shade in. Thinking twice about it. They might be able to jam themselves behind that mineral line, but they would die eventually. And I don't know if they do enough damage. So far, Reynor has lost 2 drones. Which, a far cry from the previous game, which was a whole lot of crying from the drones. Adepts, shades, juking and jiving and dancing back and forth. Robo, on the way. Blinking +1 in production. Looks like we're going to have our first real drawn-out macro game. In fact, is that the first... It's not the first robotics facility. That was done. Get off my creep! Yeah, okay, then. But... Templar Archives as well. So, going for the much more technologically oriented late-game sort of death ball, rather than Zerg Protoss here is MaxPax. And at the same time, Reynor headed in the same direction, sprinting up the tech tree. Hydralisk Den and an infestation pit, which screams lurkers from the rooftops. But will MaxPax have enough to deal with it? Now that we finally get on to, you know, your more standard sort of map, both players are like, all right, macro time. And here we are. 80 drones and 72 probes at 7 minutes. How much gateway production? Only 6 gates right now. I'm sure he's going to add more momentarily. Lurker Den and a hive on the way for Reynor. The Blink Stalker's poking out. There's 40 lings and 9 queens on the ground, which should be enough to deal with this. The question is, can he actually get the hatch here? Uses the stasis as a mini force field, and he does. Beautifully done. Doesn't actually lose a single stalker, and is able to cancel the gold base. The Adept still holding at the watchtower. MaxPax needs to be adding on a few more gates here momentarily, but Reynor doing a great job on his side. 89 drones. Well, now we see what he has in store with an actual economy, not being hamstrung by that early day. Oh my god. Well, this is certainly not an efficient fight for the Zerglings, but eventually it's one they'll win. Triple Robo. MaxPax. Is he gonna go Robo Bay? Storm is done. Or just Mass Immortal. Looks like more the second one, but... Adepts. Wait. Yep, no, not Adepts. Charge Lance. In that prism. Ready to be sent at the most inconvenient possible timing. At least for Reynor, obviously. We don't like your kind around here, Protoss. Parent, we talked about this. You're right, but you're out of line. 10 lurkers on the way. Range about to complete. +2 ground weapons, but the Templar are kind of jammed in. He's got a pseudo wall. Not a full wall, which actually usually works against you as Protoss, but enough to funnel the Zerglings in, potentially get some beautiful storms. But the lurkers are going to tear down this wall. And Immortals and Templar are good, but the lurker spread right now is just better. 3 Immortals at a time. The Queens! The Queens are on the way, providing... Oh yeah, there's really not that much anti-air besides a handful of Hydras. But the Queens will make sure the Oracles can't just come in. And now Reynor just slicing his way through. The gateways are dead. The cannons are falling. The rest of the army is in a very inconvenient position to even attempt to engage this. Stuck at the center of the map. The Queens decided to kind of stoically march back home. Because really there's not that much need for anti-air here. But MaxPax now boxed out of his 4th base. The Nexus itself is falling, though slowly. The lurkers move forward. They'll reburrow, and that Nexus is going to die. MaxPax waiting for the right army composition to deal with this. I don't know if he'll ever have it. But another Nidus in the main. MaxPax is supply blocked. He can't warp in. He has to recall back, and that means giving up the position he was setting up outside the base. In fact, the lurkers dove... Oh, I don't know. Well, there's actually no detection. Oh no! It's a bit of a disaster. The Immortals barely survive. If those Immortals had all gone down, then Reynor has very likely an opportunity to just move in for the kill. But keeping those 4 Immortals alive, even if badly bruised, is going to help out a lot in defending at least the 3rd base. But Reynor now has 82 drones. He's got so much income. He's on 5 bases. He's got 5K in the bank. But almost no gas, so that's kind of the concerning part of things. Adrenal glands and +1 melee simultaneously being researched. 5 more lurkers in production. So, overall, Reynor gets good damage done, but this is the part that every Zerg who pretty much isn't dark or Cyril struggles with. You're maxed out. You're up against this incredibly strong Protoss army. How do you engage it without leaving yourself in a position open to counterattack? Lurkers are good, but Immortal Archon Templar is better at even money. Now, it really, like, if he's able to whittle down one piece at a time, well, then his problems are solved for him. But MaxPax is slipping behind. He's sent out. Now, he used the recall not too long ago. He's still got about 30 seconds on recall, so this army is potentially vulnerable. Overlord's caught out, takes out the hatchery. No cancel, but I think he can afford it. The Lurker's gonna dunk down on top of this. The army gonna be totally eviscerated here. No hope of a recall. Slices through. The main army for MaxPax over to the right flank, though. There's enough Lurkers with Queens that MaxPax can't really engage in. But he drags the army back, and that will allow him to get his 4th base back up. But that's not saying much. Reynor making his Spire great again. And now, with more Hydras on the way, the Broodlords are potentially the endgame move. If he can limit the economy, he's going to see the fleet beacon. But MaxPax is not really in a position to just go carriers. A desperation mothership. Maybe try to eliminate the detection and take it out from there. The Immortals and the Archons, as well as Storm, will just slam into the Lurkers as they try to move up in the center. But some more, a single Lurker on top of the 4th. He'll have detection. A Stalker staring in the face of the Nidus. They say the Nidus outflanks it. Doesn't like looking directly at it. Can you blame it? It looks real disgusting. Orifices. I don't no, direct quote. Mothership and a Warp Prism on the way. Focusing on tactical options in order to reposition his army, ideally to outmaneuver the Lurkers. MaxPax playing that Reynor style of Protoss right now with the multi-pronged Immortal Archon. He has 14 Immortals right now. Is it enough? Oracle gets shot down, gets a revelation, but I don't think you can fight up there. Warp Prism. Nidus at the back. Mothership has arrived. The Immortals and Archons thinking about it. How many Corruptors? There are 5 Broodlords on the field. The Warp Prism slips behind the natural and will get into the main. But MaxPax is near maxed out. So he's going to have to pack up some of that supply if he wants to warp in a decent amount. And the Broodlord's mostly unchallenged. But wait! How is he here? He outflanks the army, forces a recall, one very unlucky Immortal. The recall goes to where? Where did he recall to? Oh wait, the Mothership! Wow. I got outmaneuvered as well. But kind of surprising he recalled to the Mothership because now his 4th base is under fire. You know, to my credit, it was clearly better to defend the 4th base, but now, well, 13 Immortals, a Mothership, the Broodlords, still mostly uncontested. They're technically Blink Stalkers and Storm, but and now another recall, this one to the 3rd. The base currently under attack. MaxPax re-expanded up to the north side, but Reynor still has plenty in the bank. He's cut down on the drone count. I don't know if it was of his own volition, but has equivalent army supply. The Tempests are out, though, and now Reynor's the one left without the Antier. Okay, there's some Hydras. He's got +3 ranged attack, +2 melee. Only attack upgrades here for Reynor. The Lurker's coming forward to the Hydras as well, but the Storms wash him away. As MaxPax beset on both sides, 28 probes slaughter. The Mothership comes in, but Reynor is just kind of annexing another Nexus. Nidus Worm in the main, cut down, but MaxPax is back on 3 bases. He's got 140 army supply. He's building carriers, and he's got money in the bank, which creates a weird scenario. Okay, goodbye, Wolfist. But he's got money in the bank, so he's really focused on just keeping this army alive. He's played Reynor enough that he knows Reynor will usually get impatient and try to just kill you. And that's when maybe you can take the decisive fight that turns the game around. But Reynor, from our perspective, clearly playing the patient game. He knows that 12 immortals are a lot to fight on the ground. Tempests are quite difficult to take down in the skies. If MaxPax is tucked into his base, it's going to be almost unbreakable. But there is no obligation to kill MaxPax if he's stuck on 3 bases, because Reynor has the rest of the bases, which gives him plenty of economy to whittle down MaxPax over time. And carriers are not a poor man's unit. You have to pay for each and every interceptor. MaxPax now down to 2K 1600 in the bank, whereas Reynor has over 9,000 minerals. And the mothership, well, that's not the ideal positioning. The zealots come down to, well, yeah, typical mothership usage, but he does drag the army out of position, so that might be something. Here are the carriers, here are the Tempests. The Hydras and Lings, though, gonna take down MaxPax's next attempt at expanding. Another mothership in production, but Reynor still not really focused on engaging the army, just taking whatever he can get. Shield Battery Overcharge will protect +2 air weapons as he continues to increment out the upgrades. And Archon goes down. It's not getting any easier for MaxPax. Reynor, he doesn't have that much gas in the bank. Of course, they don't know exactly how many resources the other has. But it's not hard to do some math here and know that Reynor is clearly far ahead in the bank. It's just this army is so hard to beat. At some point, well, if Reynor has his way, MaxPax will be forced to fight. Another mothership on the way. Time Warp is a very helpful spell. Unfortunately, the mothership is quite an expensive tool just to get one Time Warp off. Vipers, Infestors, everything coming together. More air attack upgrades for Reynor as well. Those Corruptors, an existential threat to pretty much everything not covered by Storm, and even if it is. MaxPax now under 1,000 minerals in the bank. He's working on another Nexus. We'll see if Reynor re-angles for it. He's got a Sporchard coming together. Yanks it a carrier and knocks it out. That is not something he can replace. 10,000 minerals, 4,000 gas. The armies, MaxPax's army is slightly more valuable overall. What is happening here? The mothership kind of out on its own. The main fight, he gets the fungal. Parasitic bomb, wombo combo, and MaxPax bleeding out units right and center. The Hydras took down the changeling surround on the immortal. Style points there. The other immortal will take out the changelings, but that's a little late. And MaxPax, unfortunately now, his choices have been made for him. He tried to drag Reynor into an inopportune position, but Reynor caught him first. And now MaxPax has to go. Do or die. He's never going to be able to rebuild the army. It's never going to get any easier. The Zerglings, Hydras, and Lurkers trying to force the issue, but there's no more minerals or gas. Only the new 4th base has any sort of income for MaxPax. Looking to intercept, but the Storm, he takes out a carrier. At this point, he can trade a dozen Corruptors for a carrier easily. Ultra's on the way. MaxPax bleeding out. It's hard to tell exactly where it went wrong, but it more feels like nothing ever went right. MaxPax, the recall to the mothership and losing his 4th base That was a bold gamble that did not pay off. It left his army out of position. It didn't get any meaningful damage done, and he lost his 4th base. And since then, Reynor has just kept him contained. He's allowing him to have that 4th, because Reynor's now mining from, you know, the rest. He's had the income advantage in a meaningful way for over 10 minutes. A 3rd mothership. Unfortunately, for MaxPax, we have some insight into the construction of those motherships. And as you see here, they're made out of paper, which is, in my opinion, something of a design flaw. But that also explains why Vipers can abduct them. So, at least there's that. 14 drones dead. He can replace them, and he is. That is possibly the most efficient zealot positioning ever. Another base taken down as well, but MaxPax. Fire attacks level 3 about to complete. Blinding Cloud on the Immortals to try to push them forward into the Lurkers. MaxPax recognizes it and backs off quick. I will applaud Reynor on his patience throughout this game. The Immortals trying to break through, but the Corruptor's over the top. I don't think there are any more Templar underneath, and that means these carriers are now temporary. The Corruptors are chasing them down. +3 air weapons is good, but those Corruptors are much better. The Natural is dying. GG. We're going to Game 5. As Reynor is able to lock it down. And the Mothership and the Carriers and the Tempest are just not enough. A little painful. Now, I don't blame MaxPax for playing that out, because most Zergs, especially I think including Reynor, are quite uncomfortable with playing that ultra supreme late game army. That Infestor, Viper, Lurker, Queen, Broodlord, Corruptor. Yeah, I mean, when the list of units is that long and most of them have active abilities, it's hard to keep up with. But Reynor kept it together. He kept hitting the 4th base of MaxPax. He never let him have the economy to replenish that death ball. And he slowly but surely starved it out. Which is not a particularly... It feels inevitable. Right up until you throw your army away into storms. Okay. So, even though Reynor looked like he was winning the whole time, that was still a very throwable game. I just want you to think, my Zerg friends, acquaintances, colleagues, that's a bit much. I just want you to think about every time you felt like you had enough money to beat SkyToss. We'll throw the Terrans and the Protoss in here too. You think you have enough money to beat SkyToss, you could just throw your army at it and build another one. Can you though? Reynor acknowledging that. And even at the end, he only had like 1,500 gas left in the bank. If MaxPax had mined from a 4th base and maybe even gotten a 5th, that game is very hard to close out. So the Boa Constrictor build is certainly an effective one. And now MaxPax is yet again on that 2-2. MaxPax versus Clem has gone to 5 games the last few weeks as well. So MaxPax maybe just trying to give us great games for the fans. No, he just ends up making them by being such a top-tier player. Things are going to open up very similar. We'll see if there's any sort of divergence. Gonna be Zergling speed adept, slipping in, looking for a drone. Doesn't quite find it. And the revolving door Evo chamber kills a drone over the top. But last game, Reynor doing a great job shutting down the Adepts and Oracle. Third base on the way. Now, MaxPax still not showing that Adept build. I do wonder if he just thinks it isn't very good, or if he doesn't like it. Or if he thinks that Reynor is already prepared for it. Maybe he just doesn't know, but I don't think that. He definitely does. I feel like MaxPax playing so much all the time. Apparently he's quite a ladder hero. There's no way he doesn't know about the new trend in Korea with the mass Adept timings after Oracles. Looks like he's gonna do another Twilight with no Forge. If he was gonna go for it, this would be it. Because I really want to see how MaxPax decides to handle it. And Reynor on the other side. Whoop. The Adept somewhat caught. One Oracle lights up, so it doesn't have much energy there. We'll allow the Adept to escape back to the little mineral pocket. And there it is. The Eclipse build. Where you follow up the early Oracle and Adept pressure with, I know, crazy thought, more Adepts. Which is, it's not straight to Adepts like many of the all-ins in the past. But instead, because so many players go for this, like, 4 or 5 Adept pressure, just like this. Zergs will get complacent, and they have gotten complacent. And are like, well, I need to deal with that. All right, make 16, 20 lings or so, and then you're good. And then 15 more Adepts with Glaives come in, and you're not good anymore. So, he's showing it. Now, will Reynor be able to read it? He's got 20 Zerglings. He's building more Queens. And MaxPax not too committed to the whole idea. He hasn't warped in that many more Adepts. He's got 10 in total. Doesn't want to shade through until Glaives are done, so he doesn't reveal it right as it finishes. But a single Zergling may be able to spot... Oh, that Zergling's so important. That Zergling... He sees the Adepts. That's a huge deal. The hero Zergling scouted the all-in. And now, the defenses are being raised. A double Evo chamber and a Spore Crawler to create the closest thing that Zerg can build to a door to make the Protoss jealous. The Queens are pulled. Brenda! Get everyone! Karen! Get up! Lucille! Get over here! Hold up. But are those Adepts? They are walled in. The Queens are working on it. Glaives are done. And the drones are on the run. The Spore Crawler wall helping out a lot. Now into the third. Reynor so far has not really lost any drones. The Queen's still working on it. The Spore needs to reposition. Wait, is that a wall? I don't think the Adepts are going to try it. And does it really matter? The Roaches are starting to pop out. He bought enough time. It looks like indeed it is. So he had to kind of panic and build another one. The Roaches being out means this is now mostly stalled. There's still an opportunity always for the Adepts to get in and kill critical amounts of drones, but Reynor holds the line. That one Zergling scout at the critical time gave him just enough warning in order to put up the defenses, and MaxPax unable to find the kills. 3 drones, 55 Zerglings. But the drone count is what matters, and keeping that economy intact. Adepts don't age well. They're not a great part of a later game composition. They don't work great against, really, anything en masse, even Lings and Banes. What are these units doing? Guys, hello? I think some of them are on hold position, and the rest are jammed into the back. So, creating a very, oh my god, anxiety attack. So, Reynor survives the Eclipse build. He comes out the other side. But now MaxPax, he still has the economy of the production. He had that Twilight Council. He got +1 done. The follow-up is still going to be very strong. Looking for more. More Zerglings on the way. The Queens and Transfuse holding it together. Trying to buy the time he needs. Ideally until Roach Speed, but that seems a bit optimistic. At least to get some more Ravagers out. Reynor has the army supply lane. But Corrosive Bowels raining down more force fields. Adepts in the natural getting some damage as well. But the main focus is on this fight. More Zerglings. Stasis not coming up. Adepts hold position in order to kill some extra drones. But Reynor still has the economy. Corrosive Bow rains down. The Adepts have been shaved away from the main army composition as well, which means the Zerglings are posing more and more of an issue. The battle continues. 6 drones died to the Adepts, but Reynor has 4 bases. Stasis gonna create a bit of a difficult position for the units to actually chase up to the high ground. 4th base now on the way for MaxPax. Stasis to cover the flank from the southern side, but there's so many Ravagers and Lings. And now MaxPax, I think, has to be in retreat. If he's not careful, it's gonna turn into a rout. But the Oracles do have energy. He can save the other Immortal with the Warp Prism, and for now, MaxPax will be able to retreat to his 3rd base. Behind this, Reynor, no Infestation Pit, no Hydralisk down, no other tech. He's got Overlord Speed. Is he really going to bring the Queens? That Overlord Speed is not just for funsies to scout. That's, feels like a German... Oh, the Queens come in and save the Ravager. But it looks like Reynor is not interested in slowing things down this time around, but instead ramping it up. And speaking of going up ramps, going to take down the rocks that allow him to take the center of the map much more easily. There are Colossi on the way for MaxPax. Extended Thermal Lance has just now begun. 38 Banelings in production. And +2 melee is about completed. The Overlord speed upgrade completed. I don't know if he got any dropper loads. 41 Banelings on the way, and the Queens are trundling across. There's still a couple Oracles that he needs the anti-air for. There's so many Banelings right now. The Colossi are good, but not great against this. And that's enough Banelings to just end the game, and MaxPax doesn't handle this perfectly. A couple of Adepts on a 5th base, but a sideshow compared to Reynor coming in from the right and from the center. The Stasis gonna help file the Banelings through, trying to cut down the right side of the fight, but the Banelings are still rolling in. The Colossi are not enough. Banelings close the distance. The Stalkers, everything jammed up. Banelings kill a Colossus. They kill some Stalkers. They break down the wall. But 13 probes are dead. 13 drones are dead. 10 probes on the other side. Reynor taking severe economic damage to just a handful of Adepts. He was so focused on rolling those Banelings into juicy targets, he didn't protect himself at home. And just like that, MaxPax will recover and is actually ahead by 14 workers. Reynor got the damage done on the army, but if he doesn't kill the bases, he doesn't reset the tech, he doesn't prevent MaxPax from building a better army for the next fight. So his momentum is almost entirely gone. The supply gap has closed dramatically, but the Warp Prism gets taken down. And that is a huge deal. The big threat of counterattack is removed. And now Reynor can again focus on a massive Baneling roll-in. The rolling pin build to try... Oh no! The Zerglings get into the natural. It's a disaster. He's going to depower the Robo. Wait, no. He's still able to get through. The 4th base under fire. Zealots on to the 4th and the 5th. More 30, 42, 43 probes slaughtered almost instantaneously. Zerglings in the main and the natural. And the 4th base is eviscerated. The economy is gone. The Zealots are getting damage done, but it pales in comparison to what Reynor's been able to accomplish. 48 probes obliterated in seconds. And now MaxPax is once again in a precarious position with some of the most fragile units. But Reynor continues to stream through with Roaches, Lings, Ravagers, and Banes. Most importantly, nothing else. Nothing else in production. Not even any upgrades being continued. And nothing in the wall means the Zerglings are going to get in again. And MaxPax continues to suffer for... Oh no. 150 to 100 supply. He's gonna get the Nexus, the fadeaway corrosive biles. And the natural as well, ripped apart by Zerglings. It's a disaster for MaxPax, who once again will be caught with no army and not nearly enough economy. Well, maybe he has enough army, but he doesn't have the army that can really move out and deal with this. But he doesn't have a choice. He has to go. If he stays, it would be trouble. But if he goes, it could be easily twice as much. Thing is, as time goes on, Reynor still... MaxPax knows he still has the economy. This hatchery will be taken out. It was already softened up by the attack. The Zerglings get in again. Shield battery overcharge. He has to fight with Lings. Banelings, though, closing in on Zealots. There's no units to warp in. I don't know where the rest went, but Baneling's rolling on top of the Colossi. The Queens are pulled off the line. A Colossus falls. The Banelings crash through. Terrible, terrible damage being dealt, but 18 drones dead. Oh, no. Reynor losing a huge amount of his economy as well. The Oracles light up to save the day. The last Colossus, 24 kills. Oracles dodge out of Corrosive Bile. And the Zealots found so much damage. The Ravagers are dying to the Oracles. And that leaves Reynor without really very much. This is still... It's not going to be easy. But I think MaxPax actually drew a little closer after that exchange. He has +3 ground weapons done. Reynor only has 1.5-ish mining bases. Of course, MaxPax only has like 1 in total. And he only has 18 probes, so certainly that's not great either. These Oracles have racked up so much. The Zerglings. Those Queens. The Queens are the difference. If those Queens weren't there, this army definitely has a shot. But the Queens to just tank the damage and potentially knock out the air. That's the difference. Brenda and the Knitting Crew. The backbone of the Zerg. And an Oracle! Almost taken down, but actually right-click, gets to the high ground and gets another stasis off, but losing a lot of units in the process. More drones dying. Zealot gets into the natural. There's not that many drones to burn here. MaxPax decided to just hardwall and quarantine his base. Stasis catches a bit, but that's it! He just taps it out. MaxPax took too much damage. Reynor survives. I think MaxPax just didn't adjust to Reynor's hyper-aggressive style. And yes, even the game where they both played full-on macro, Reynor got up in his face with the lurkers, and MaxPax, he flinched. And again, MaxPax unable to find that decisive moment while Reynor committed and almost suffered for it, but he comes out on the winning end. Oh, another dramatic finals. It's been a week full of them, but certainly something different. Reynor a well-deserved victory, but definitely a match that could have gone either way. I hope you enjoyed. Exhausting. I felt like I was getting whiplash throughout that whole series. Honestly, right up until MaxPax GG'd, I wasn't 100% confident where it was going, even at the end. But hopefully you were confident and you enjoyed it. At least it made your day a little bit better. If you got the means of motivation, you also check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. And if you haven't yet checked out the second channel, Stormgate release is coming out. If you're watching this, the day it comes out, about a week from now. And most of the content that I'm making for it will be on the second channel. Still plenty of StarCraft here. I mean, it's in the name. And that I have no plans on changing that anytime soon. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.